Welcome back to another instant reaction to Miami's game today. They beat the Florida State Seminoles 36-14 here at Hard Rock Stadium. Today I've got Wes Lamy, play-by-play announcer and editor-in-chief at worldwidewest.com. First of all, Wes, just your first reaction of this game.
Okay, we led up to it. We mentioned it throughout the entire game. Just the first half alone was not as pleasing as maybe Miami Hurricanes fans wanted. As the game ended, 36 points by the Miami Hurricanes offense with 151 to play. Great history in this rivalry, but not much sizzle as many probably expected with this undefeated Hurricanes team coming in.
Yeah, to be honest, this was like probably the most boringest Miami Florida State game that I've ever witnessed. And it was a very conservative game plan, I thought. Just like I said with my prediction, I felt like Miami could win this game if they just limit the mistakes. And it seems like that was the kind of the game plan that they had going in, just to limit mistakes. Cam Ward was not vintage or Heisman-esque Cam Ward today. He was more so a game manager. And for the first time this season, he didn't pass for 300 yards, and he didn't pass for a touchdown as well. But the great thing about it is that he didn't have an interception or a fumble. And I think that was kind of part of the game plan going in, to limit the mistakes.
You hit it on all facets there, Marcus, because at the end of the day, if this Hurricanes team faced a Florida State team that had a productive offense, then they would have been maybe in trouble, because it was the Florida State defense that really put Cam Ward in check slightly. It was great, even though Cam Ward did not throw any interceptions, he did not throw any touchdowns, but however, he was held under 200 yards for the first time this season. At the same time, Cam Ward himself, you heard in the press game conference, he said himself this was the worst game this season for the offense as a whole. He saw it himself, and then the Florida State defense, they did their part, especially where the Miami Hurricanes, they had the ball about 13 more minutes more than the Florida State offense, and that wore down that Florida State defense. And at the end, that's why they were able to get those amount of points on the board, because they kept on the ball. And you ever heard Martinez at the end of the game, the rushing attack was more than a passing attack, which was big.
Yeah, it definitely was big. Cam Ward, again, sacked 4 times in this game. That was the most on the season. His completion percentage was the lowest of the season as well, 62%. But they still came out with a victory. They still covered the spread. So although this was a boring game, this was a game where they are still undefeated. It's another ACC win for the Miami Hurricanes. So a win's a win, as they always say. But there are definitely a lot of things that the Miami Hurricanes can clean up on offense and defense. This was not a good Florida State offense that they played today. And
the backup quarterback got in.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Backup quarterback was looking like Michael Vick out there, breaking out for some big runs. So there's certainly things that Miami needs to clean up defensively that you hope that they clean up by next game, which is already coming up next week against Duke. So I definitely want to see a lot of improvement when it comes to QB contained, because that wasn't Mike Vick out there. That wasn't even Lamar Jackson. So that third string quarterback shouldn't be breaking out for 40-yard runs. So hopefully that gets cleaned up by next week.
And the key thing too, when you look at it, it was a win, we mentioned that, but we need quality wins moving forward, especially since it's an unranked FSU team. It's a rivalry game.
Now 1-7.
1-7 on their home field. So there's a lot to be said about it. The Hurricanes just can't afford to fall to any unranked teams, maybe leading up to the ACC title game where they may face a Clemson team. A lot can go on the next couple of weeks for Virginia Tech playing SMU next week. That can go along, and Pitt is in the mix.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said, and the Hurricanes just don't have that quality ranked win yet this season.
Yeah.
And this one did not help when it could have helped it. If you heard me, I was telling you they should be up 35 zip in the first half. And Florida State went to the locker room at the half with only 5 first downs, down only 10 to the Miami Hurricanes, who were undefeated.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of negatives. I guess we're starting out with here, but I want to focus on some of the positives
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah.
Damian Martinez ran for 148 yards in this game. He had a really nice run in the fourth quarter where he kind of broke free for a nice run. It's nice to see the running game going for the Hurricanes, and for me, it kind of told me that this team can win in a variety of different ways. We've seen this team win with the passing game, obviously,
Absolutely.
with Cam Ward, throwing it all over the field to many different receivers. But with the last two games, you really see that this team can win with the running game, which is positive kind of going forward, because it can be a situation where the Hurricanes are just anemic when it comes to passing the football. And you want to kind of depend on your running game and your defense to kind of carry you through the game. Now, this FSU offense, not that great, so you don't really kind of want to measure the bar with this type of offense. But the running game, for me, I thought was efficient, and it was really nice to see Mark Fletcher with all that he went through this week with his father passing away tragically. To see him get that first touchdown on that first drive was just a really great moment, not only for him, but for the team, for the city. This is a kid who is just a great person just to be around, and so was his dad. So shout out to Mark Fletcher and his family. Our hearts and prayers, of course, go out to him, but it was great to see the Hurricanes score on that drive and him to get that touchdown.
Yeah, and let's talk on the positive here. First of all, in regards to Mark Fletcher, that was so cool that Cristobal shared with us that his dad used to be around the practices. I was like, wow, that's impressive. Like his dad, he joked around that, his dad would come to the practices when he should be at work. But I thought that was kind of funny. But that really is awesome. That really is awesome, and that obviously shows the camaraderie in the family, the Hurricane family that they really are. Yeah. Now the running attack, those running backs in that room, they've been impressive. I've been impressed. I've always felt like they've been an insurance blanket for this Miami Hurricanes offense. With Fletcher coming back, Martinez, great pickup. So I really felt like, how do I say, I'm not surprised. I don't want to, I'm not underestimating it, but I'm not surprised, especially when Cam Ward is the top of this offense consistently. Yeah. But I'm not surprised by it. I am impressed continually because they do get amazing runs in, great balance attack, the way that they get rotated in.
Yeah. One more thing I want to say about Ward is that he kind of took what the defense gave him in this game. He threw the ball away a lot. Yes, his completion percentage was down, but he didn't put the ball in harm's way. He didn't put his team in harm's way like that Virginia Tech game, where he had a couple of interceptions, kind of throwing into coverage, fumbling the ball. We didn't see that from Cam Ward today. So I think if he plays like this team can go on and achieve their goal of winning an ACC championship. So I kind of like what I saw from him.
Let me add on to that too, Mark. So coming in, Cam Ward, for his career, has thrown over 2,100 pass attempts. Wow. So I'm sharing the stat with you because I want you to know that his experience. So again, we know we harped on the negative a bit in terms of how they didn't really blow out FSU, but just the fact that even though he didn't throw a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, but he didn't throw an interception. Right. And you said the way that he played, it showed his magic, and that's why he's the front runner for the Heisman. He still is, especially with that touchdown reception. But it shows he played well with it, and it shows when you have 2,100 pass attempts coming into a game.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you can handle, you can manage, you can handle, and it shows experience.
Yeah, definitely want to kind of talk about that touchdown pass though. they talked about it in the press conference, called it Texas to Texas, because of course Elijah Arroyo, originally from South Florida, but went to high school in Texas, and Cam Ward also from Texas as well. So nice to hear that was the name of the play.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, and Ward was really excited to hear the play called for him. Said he was smiling as soon as he heard the call. I thought it was a really nice pass by Arroyo.
Left-handed.
Left-handed on the run. Yeah. Kind of off balance. So really great play by Arroyo. I kind of feel like maybe you want to save that play for another game. It didn't really need to happen, but I think Cristobal and this staff really wanted to make a statement against Florida State.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because not only is Florida State obviously their biggest rival, But they were embarrassed the last time Florida State was in this building, 45-3. A game a lot of Hurricanes fans want to forget. So I think they really wanted to put an exclamation point or dagger on this game, because to me that drive, which was 7 minutes long, I think really kind of, killed the game, or killed any type of comeback for Florida State to come back in this game. So I really like the fact that they had a drive like that, and they ended it with a touchdown pass to Cam Ward, which is only going to help his Heisman campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And also, too, key thing, too, obviously, I mean, they dominated them last year, but well, more of the year before. Last year, the injury in that last drive hurt the Hurricanes, but they were on a 3-game losing streak to them.
Yeah.
So they ended that. They snapped that 3-game losing streak to the Seminoles.
Yeah.
Back on track, as they should.
Yeah.
With this team that Cristobal has built, it's predicted that they were going to end that losing streak.
Yeah. And now Miami are the state champs, which seems like it was really important to Mario Cristobal and the staff, because at the end of his press conference, he blatantly said,
What was that?
Miami's program is on the right trajectory, and those other schools are not. That was a mic drop. I love to hear it. I love to hear that type of swagger and that type of confidence coming from your head coach.
Slamming the podium.
Yeah, and I don't know how many recruits were here today, but I know it was a lot, maybe over 60 recruits. And that's kind of what a recruit wants to hear as well. Like, we are the school in the Sunshine State, which is arguably the best state when it comes to football talent. So if you can control the state when it comes to recruiting and on the football field, then you are on the right trajectory, and those teams are on the wrong trajectory.
Yeah. I think it was also important that when it came to these state games, they got that win against Florida on the road.
Yeah.
Because when you start a season on the road at Florida and you get a win like that, that's huge. Because if you look at Florida now, if they played them now, it probably would not have as much sizzle as they did to start the season.
Sure.
Because we know how Florida's been struggling.
Yeah.
But to open it off, that's a good way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of other more stats that I just want to run by. Miami kind of dominated this game total yards. 445 to 248. First downs 31 to 14. So this team was moving the ball. They were just settling for field goals in this game.
Yeah.
Which, you can, credit to Andy Morales for hitting those field goals, and he's still, I think, in the running for the Luke Rosa Award.
Yes.
But you don't want to settle for field goals. You want to score touchdowns. And that is fine against a team like Florida State, who's 1-7 and anemic on offense. But once you play a team like Georgia Tech, if Haynes King, of course, comes back at quarterback, you can't settle for field goals in a game like that. You might not get away with settling for field goals in a game against Duke next week. So that's kind of the one thing that I kind of take away from this game, is that they just couldn't finish drives in this game. So that is a concern kind of going forward.
And they're going to be at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
That's going to be a key factor. Like I harped on in the beginning, again, FSU's defense got worn down.
Yeah.
With the running attack, they got worn down. Another thing that's really important, though, is that if FSU offense was just halfway better, not fully up to Miami's potential, they may have put up a fight.
Right.
So that's something key to remember too.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for our instant reaction. Wes, thank you for joining me today. Cass, will probably be back for the next instant reaction for the next game. Duke, we'll see if she returns for that. But I think you did a really great job. Obviously, maybe better. I don't know. You let us know in the comments who did a better job, Cass or Wes. Do you want Cass back, or do you want Wes to stay? Well, let us know in the comments.
Wow.
Oh, now she want to come in. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the instant reaction. Miami beats Florida State 36-14. State champs. On to the next week.